What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to fix an iPad Pro 9.7 inch. With this repair, you're going to need to get the glass and LCD combination in order to do it. We're going to need a heat gun, pry tool, Phillips screwdriver, and maybe some double-sided tape. This iPad also, we're going to heat it up with a heat gun. Never heat it too much to where it would ever be, hot to the touch. And just be careful down here because the home button can get damaged very easily. When we're going to lift it off, we're going to be lifting it off, this way. I'm going to hinge it down here because that's where the cable connections are. Start by going into the small side. If it is chipped like that, it's kind of easier to dig into it. You can see how thick the edge is. If you slightly pull pressure on it, maybe if you look down there, you can see the tape still kind of stuck to it. We're going to try to reuse what we can on it, but there's a little piece, it's kind of stretched. It's stuck in my hand. If you're going to do any turning like that, make sure that you're leaning more on the edge of the frame. You don't want to put any pressure on anything internal on this iPad. I'm going to leave that. Keep it up. So that's got some glass chips in there, so it's going to probably be hard to reuse. I normally don't reuse it, but on these iPads, the adhesive is just insane. And it seems like their adhesive they give us isn't that good. That's why I try to use my own stuff. When you're down here, be very careful because the way that the cable runs off this home button, it runs down along this bottom edge and then back up and around. So when you come down here, be extremely careful. As you can see, the home button piece comes down up into here. Alright, once you basically get it free, come over here and take these 3 screws out. They're all the same length, so it shouldn't matter. Then what you're going to want to do is gently pry up on this, or pull up on this silver tab. It's just got like a little hook right here. I guess you gotta like pick up and slide over. Alright, verify that the iPad's off. Unplug this bottom one. Be very careful. You should be using a plastic pry tool, like a guitar pick for this. That was a noob mistake, me grabbing the metal one. Pop one up. Pop the other. lot of this tape got damaged. Half of it. I think I'm going to just redo it the whole way so I can clean it up. Alright, so set these two off to one side and let's clean up this mess. Alright, now you're going to want to inspect this very good. Make sure you get all these little pieces of glass off of there. Alright, after cleaning this up and making sure all the little pieces are off, you want to take and set it off to the side because we're going to use it here in a minute, but not right now. Now come back to your the original broken screen. And this is where things get tricky and where things could go bad quick. What you're going to want to do is come in here. Be very careful taking off this black piece of tape. Put it off to the side. Now this flex cable is all glued on with like an adhesive all the way. And it's hard to see, but this bends and then comes up to here. This is also glued down with like a hot glue. So it makes it kind of hard because this side is too. And it has this flex cable going there and it's trapped. So what I like to do is get right up near the edge. Be very careful. Very easily. Try to see if you can find the spot where it wants to give up. There we go. So we know where we're going to do it at. We can just start picking it up right here. Slide it under there very carefully. You might want to get a little bit of heat, very little. Now this glue is still pretty damn secure. Now if you can see, it's slowly coming about. There it goes. Slowly work it out. Okay, now that it's off, what we got to do is come back in here and be very careful, but we have to pry up this glue with the home button. We have to be very careful. We have to come back in here and pry up this home button area just on the glue. Just try to pop that glue up. Be very careful not to damage the home button, because on this model iPad it's irreplaceable. Okay, it finally gave up. Put it off to the side. Make sure it doesn't get anything on it, as we'll reuse the adhesive from that. Now there's one little piece of adhesive still holding this home button down. Free that up. Now there's a ring that you have to get under. There's two rings and then the rubber piece. You need to get under both rings. And remember, be very careful with this home button. That's what it should look like when you get it out. Put that off to the side. Grab our new screen. Concentrate down here. We'll just stick this home button on there for now. Try to make sure this is flat as possible. Now come back to your home button bracket. We're just going to stick it back down for now. Make sure that it clicks like it's supposed to. Alright, so fold it back over. Pick up the ribbon cable. Make sure this bottom edge is square, flat, even with this one. If it's a little bit turned, it's going to get pinched when you go to put it on the iPad. So at this point, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to just test fit the iPad and the screen together and make sure that everything is working, because we don't want to move forward and it not be working. So be very careful over here and make sure you let the cable connector get where it needs to go, and then you'll feel that it's there, and you can kind of push down on it. Okay, so once all the connections are connected down securely, let's do this test and make sure it's all working. We're just gonna, connect it and be very careful and lay it over slow, making sure that nothing gets pinched. Let it just relax and don't drop it down. Start it and let's make sure that the home button's working. It doesn't say that the Touch ID is damaged or anything like that. Make sure that the screen is touching. Alright, the Touch ID is working, the fingerprint, because it would have told us right here that there's something wrong with it. Now, we need to test to see if the screen's touching. Screen seems to be touching fine. What I'd like to do is hold down and drag it to all corners. Touch the home button. Everything seems to be working fine at first glance here. So we're going to give it the benefit of the doubt that we did the repair correctly. We're going to come back, make sure it powers off. We're going to disconnect these. Put the screen back off to the side again. So now we're going to take and make sure that, yes, all the glass, all the little tiny chips are off, because if you leave one little chip on there and you go to push the screen down, it's going to shatter it again, and you're going to be back to having to replace it again. So, after we confirm all of them are off, we're going to just take some red tape here, run it along the edges. Now if you get the right tape of this, it's extremely sticky, but they sell like, I don't know, maybe it's a fake version, I'm not really sure, and it's, I've got it once and it was not very sticky. So if yours isn't sticky, then you have the wrong one, and it probably won't hold the screen down and you'll probably break it again. I like to come back and just make sure it's stuck really well. If you notice on the design of the iPad, on this one, since I guess it doesn't have cellular service, there's this big hole here, so you could easily be pushing this down and tighten it and break through it, so be very careful about that. Make sure you don't cover up any of the sensors. All right. So with everything down and taped, we're going to come along, pull off all these little red pieces. Be careful your little pry tool doesn't get stuck in the glue. Alright, since on my case the adhesive worked, you know, pulling it up, I didn't have any problems. I'm going to reuse what it came with. Peel this edge off. Now we're going to go back and connect this, making sure that you feel around and make sure that with light pressure that you're in the right spot with these. If you damage these connections on the iPad or the screen, you're going to have to get them replaced. Alright, now we're going to power it on and test it. Make sure to leave the screen, you know, standing up so that it's not going to get stuck down, because we still got to put the screws back in it. Alright, everything seems to test fine. So now what we're going to do is hook our plate back in here. Now's when you wish you had 3 hands. So we're going to take our plate, remembering to hook it underneath the tab on this side. So you kind of set it down. If you turn it a little bit, it'll hook right where it needs to go. Now we're going to take our 3 screws, put them back in. Come back, verify everything's still working. Okay, once we verify that it's all still working, I want to come back, look at your edge here and make sure that the screen is pushed up against it and that the flex cables on this side are going in the spot where they need to go. And then you're going to want to ever so slightly and gently start lowering this down, making sure that the screen, you can slide it over, take up the little bit of gap that might be there. And then you get it all down. Put a little bit of pressure, make sure that it's sitting flat. Is stopping it from sitting flat and clean on the edges. Stop where you are, go back and try to re-lift this up, but you're going to have to reheat it again to lift it up. So now let's take it and test it again, verify that it's working great. No issues, no dark spots, no nothing random. Everything's good. Home button's working like it's supposed to. The screen's working like it's supposed to. Everything looks like it's supposed to, so we can just... we're good to go. It's all set down, seated. It's good to hand back to the customer or start using again. So if this video helped you, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see some different videos, let us know in the comments. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. And if you'd like to get yours repaired by us, just check out our website. It's iRepairDr.com, and we can get it taken care of for you there too. Have a good one.